Okay, fourth grade. So we are on lesson 7-3, and the title should be a fraction as a multiple of a unit fraction. So we're going to start with our mental math. So today's mental math, if you saw online, is comparing two sets of fractions. So remember, we're going to do 3 sets. Each of those sets has 3 problems in it. So let's do set number 1. So the first problem was 1/2. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to 1/4? Now, a way I like to do it if I'm not sure is I use fraction bars. So I'm going to split this one into halves, and I know I have 1/2. Then I'm going to add another one that's split up into 4s to represent 1/4. And I'm going to highlight 1. So as you can see, the purple shaded spot is bigger than the yellow. So 1/2 is greater than 1/4. When you're drawing your fraction bars, you just want to make sure that they're the same length. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right accurate results. Okay, number 2 is 2/3. Is that less than, greater than, or equal to 2/5? Now, you might just look at that 5 and say, well, I know 5's bigger than 3, but that's not how you do fractions. You have to think, how close is it to the whole? So I'm going to get out my fraction bars again. This one I'm going to split up into thirds, and I'm going to highlight 2 of them because it's 2/3. This one I'm going to put right underneath, and I'm going to split it up into fifths, and I'm going to highlight 2/5. I'm actually going to move this one over again so it's perfectly in line. And as you can see, the 2/3 is bigger than the 2/5. And without the fraction bars, I know that 2/3 is close to 3/3, which equals that whole. 2/5 is not as close to 5/5. The closer you get to that whole number is how big the fraction is. The closer you get to the whole, the bigger the fraction. So let's do number 3 for the first set is 3/6 and 4/10. So same thing, I'm going to do my fraction bars to help me. And I broke that into 6, and now I'm going to shade in 3 of them. And the tenths, I'm going to shade in 4. And as you can see, 3/6 is greater than 4/10. Okay, let's start over. Let's do the next set, set number 2. The first problem is 6/12 and 5/10. So if I have 6/12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5/10, you can see that they are the exact same amount. So these are equal. Let me move these up here. And you know that 6/12 is equal to 1/2, and 5/10 is also equal to 1/2. So 1/2 equals 1/2. All right, number 2. 3/8 and 4/6. Is 3/8 greater than, less than, or equal to 4/6? So I'm going to get my fraction bars, 8ths and 6ths. There's 3/8, and there is 4/6. And I know that 4/6 is close to 6/6, so this is the bigger fraction because it's closer to the whole. Okay, 3. 2/5 is greater than, less than, or equal to 3/10. So I'm going to get my fraction bars. This is fifths and tenths. And 3/5 is greater than 2/5 is greater than 3/10. Okay, last set. These are our challenge problems. 1 is 70 hundredths. Is it greater than or less than or equal to 4/10? So I'm going to divide this into hundredths. And I'm going to try to color in 70. There we go, 70 and 4/10. And you can see that 70 hundredths is greater than 4/10 because 70 is close to 100, so it's closer to that whole number. 3/4 and 7/8. So let's get a fraction bar for fourths and a fraction bar for eighths. Line them up. Let's shade in 3 for 3/4, and let's shade in 7 for 7/8. And you can see that 7/8 is greater than 3/4. Last one. 9/10 and 11/12. So we have tenths, and we can shade in 9. And we have 12ths, and we can shade in 11. And as you can see, it is just a little bit larger. So 11/12 is slightly larger than 9/10. I also want you guys, if you like using fraction bars, you can use this same website that I'm using. If you type into Google Math Learning Center free apps, it will show up, and this is the fraction one. And they have fraction circles, they have money, they have time, they have 10 frames, they have geoboards. It's really cool and very helpful tool